Okay. I wasn't going to do a video today. I was just going to chill out. But I got something in really interesting that I thought was appropriate to discuss for this time of year. And since, the graduations have already occurred and these students are already out of high school and determining what their next steps are, I felt like this was a very timely letter and one that I should jump on right away because there's time limits here. There's time limits that the parents are working on, and I wanted to make sure that I got my opinion out for those who may be in a similar situation. Now, this letter pertains to a mom. She says she's in the 36 to 45 age group in Columbus, Ohio. She writes, "My oldest son just graduated from high school. He's 18 years old. Okay. I want him to join the Air Force because he needs that structure to develop into a young adult. He'll get the opportunity to travel the world and, of course, have resources to pay for college. Going into debt for him, it just isn't something I can do. I have 3 other children that are between 11 and 16 years of age. What can I do to encourage him to leave the nest? It wouldn't be so bad if he would just get a job, but in my opinion, he's unrealistic and lazy. He doesn't work. He does apply for jobs, but getting him to do chores is like pulling teeth. He likes playing video games and eating my food. I know he's only 18, as some people say, but to me that's no excuse. I've been working and paying taxes since I was 15 years old. I told him I would fully support him at home if he went to college full time, but he just won't. I'm so tempted to give him a 30-day notice to vacate my house." Okay. Now, one thing that's missing here is, has he ever had a job? That's not really made clear. Has this kid ever worked like a summer job while he was in high school? Has he ever done anything on the weekends? Has he ever done anything besides go to school and sit around and play video games and eat and mess up the house? Excuse me, I'm still battling those allergies that took me down on Wednesday. And this is just water. This is an issue that I think a lot of parents are facing because, I admit the economy is a lot different than when I was a teenager. We had summer job programs and, people would always be looking for some kids to come and do some odd jobs or whatever during the summer. If you could get a little job at a nonprofit, things were just different. So I admit that. I also don't know what the economic situation is for young people with no job experience and no job training in Columbus, Ohio, because I've never even been there. Okay, so what I'm telling people is general. So don't be like, well, it's not like that here. You just talking, you don't know what it's like. As you try to defend your now adult sons and promote uselessness and fuckery amongst your kids. Okay, because I really don't give a shit. The bottom line is where there's a will, there's a way. And as long as you make an excuse for your sons, they're going to be fucking useless. Okay, so anybody who's got a teenage son, make his fucking ass get up and get a job. I don't give a fuck if he's delivering newspapers. He needs to be getting up and doing something like everybody else. Okay, you shouldn't be, especially a mother, should not be the only one in the house working when you have teenagers. They should be working too. They should be doing something, babysitting. I don't care what they do. They need to be doing something that brings in some revenue into the house and helps them be responsible for themselves before they turn 18. Because technically, once they turn 18, they're adult and they're not your responsibility anymore. Okay, so this is something that your son needs to understand. Anything that you do for your child after the age of 18, you're doing out of the goodness of your heart. You don't have to do shit for them anymore. The second, on the clock by their birth certificate that they turn 18, you have every legal right to tell them to get the fuck up and get the fuck out. And see, they don't understand it because they've been, parents these days are too soft. You don't talk to your kids, especially your sons, in a way that makes them understand what time it is. A conversation about what you're going to be doing when you turn 18, this is something that you start having with them at 15, so that they're preparing themselves. They get their little jobs. They start saving their money. They get their mind wrapped around the fact that this is what I'm going to be doing with myself, and making plans for that to happen. So at this point, for people who have a son in this situation and they just want to play video games and eat up all your food, okay, that's a pimp mentality. Okay, we cannot encourage that amongst young black men. And I know there's going to be a lot of women complaining, you too hard. You just too hard on black men. They have racism. They have, things that affect them. They can't do stuff like white boys do. Man. I don't really care to hear all of that. They're going to be a man, okay? In order to be walking around here calling yourself a man, there are certain standards of behavior that you have to meet. That's it. Otherwise, you're a child. Okay, if you're going to be a kid, then be a kid. But you don't get any decision-making power. You don't get to do anything except what you're told. Okay, that's what kids are. The second you want to have a sex life, you want to go on dates, you want to do what you want to do, you want to stay out late and not come in on curfew, you want to do all that kind of stuff. That's shit that grown people do. So either you're going to be grown and you're going to be responsible for yourself, or you're going to be a child, in which case I'm going to run your ass like a vacuum cleaner. So there's a decision here. Most young men don't want to be run like a vacuum cleaner, so they're going to want to be, considered to be young men. Okay, so what does that mean, as a young man? That means that you have a job. That means you work. You have a legitimate source of income. You pay taxes. That means that you help out in the environment under which you live, since most 18-year-olds don't have their own apartment. That means, very likely they're going to be living with somebody else who's the lien holder, leaseholder, whatever. That person determines what you do in the house to help contribute to the household. You need to be up off your ass doing something. So in a situation like this, you should not have sons to sit around playing video games. He should have chores in the household just like you do. There's no reason for you to be doing all the work when you have teenagers. And this also goes for your 16-year-old and whoever else is the 11-year-old. Yeah, all of them could do something. You shouldn't be doing everything. Divide them chores up. Those little motherfuckers need to be doing some laundry. They need to be vacuuming. They need to dust, clean the furniture, polish the furniture, clean the windows, clean the bathroom 2 to 3 times a week, since you have so many people, probably every day. They need to clean their own rooms. They need to wash their own sheets. They need to do all of that stuff. I need to do all the chores in the house. I wouldn't be doing shit except for cooking and paying the bills. Now with that many damn kids, I only have one, so it's a little tougher. You know what I mean? But you have, 4 folks, and you try to do everything yourself? No, I wouldn't be doing shit. When I walked in the door, I would cook, and then I would sit down, and that would be the end of my involvement. So what you're going to have to do now is sit your son down, and you're going to have to say, son, let's just say his name is Jim. Okay, Jim, you're 18 now. According to the law, my responsibility for you is over. You've graduated from high school and you're 18. You're now an adult in this country. I have no more legal or social responsibility for you. You are now an adult male. What does that mean? That means you're going to get the fuck up out of my house. That's what that means. I don't take care of men because I am not a bitch and you are not a pimp. So this little thing that you think you got going here, where you going to sit on your ass and eat up all my food and do what you want to do and I'm going to be taking care of you? Oh, no. You got 30 days. Now, at the end of that 30 days, I'm giving you an eviction notice right now. So you got 30 days to get the fuck up out of my house. If in that 30 days you are not either enrolled full-time for school or you have not signed up and have a enlistment date for when you're going to ship out for the Air Force or whatever else you tell him, I don't know what your other options are, a full-time job maybe. So, okay, so maybe you got them 3 options. You're going to have one of them in play. Or I'm putting your shit on the other side of the door and I'm changing the locks, and that's going to be the end of that. You will not be welcome at my house anymore because this situation that you think that you have right now, this is not going to go on. So it's now July 7th. On August 7th, you better be up out of here. That's it, and that's all. So, applying for jobs half-assed, how is he going to get a job, really, when he doesn't have any work experience? And it's like he doesn't seem like he's interested in getting any. And even though kids may not have job experience, what happens when they go in for an interview, the employer looks at their energy. What kind of enthusiasm do they present to learn? What are their interests? Why do they want a job? If he's not giving the right kind of answers, like, I have 3 younger siblings and my mom's been doing everything by herself. I'm out of high school now. I do want to get a more advanced education, but right now I really want to get something going so I can help my mother, because she's been struggling enough. I want to, make things a little bit easier for her before I go back to school. So I'd like, full-time job for maybe a year or so as I, look into going back to school, something like that. He would get a job instantly because they think that they're going to see that his mind's in the right place. But if he just goes in there, why would you want to work here, sir? Jim, why do you want to work here? I don't know, because, I need a job. My mama said I got to get the job. Some other BS nonsense. They're looking for someone who's going to contribute to the company, that's going to contribute to their customer base, that's going to help their business grow, that's going to leave a positive image of their business in the community. And somebody who just want to sit on their ass and eat video games and eat up all the food without a care in the world, don't do no chores, nothing, he doesn't contribute anything to the household, then how is the employer supposed to see that he's going to contribute something to the job? There's a parallel here. Now, this is an unfortunate thing, because I don't know the ethnicity of the people involved. I assume that they're African American, writing to me and in Columbus, Ohio. Because what usually happens when they're not black, they usually say so. I know, your channel's for black people, and I'm white, or I'm, this or that. I mean, they usually tell me, not like it makes a difference, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying they usually explain it, which is good because it changes my focus, and I have a different, look at their letter through a different lens. Since she didn't say anything, I am assuming that these are African American people, family that we're talking about. And with that in mind, when you have a young black male who has no focus, no direction, and no goals for himself, he becomes kind of lost and sometimes will wander around and get into trouble because he doesn't have any purpose. So he'll end up getting involved with the wrong crowd, and the next thing you know, your son's in jail, in prison or something. So we want to avoid that for him. And he needs to, because of the fact that, he doesn't really know what he wants to do, he can go, while he tries to figure that out, he can be in the Air Force, just like you said. He sounds like he's young and strong. If he's got any intelligence, he can pass the test and be in the Air Force. If that doesn't work for him, he can be in the Navy. Either way, he will be on about his business and doing something to create a career path for himself. And then when he gets out, he can buy a home, he can get property, he can establish himself, he can go to school. They have all kind of benefits for vets. Even as a father, like here in California, they have this thing where the tuition is discounted or waived or something for vets, and there's a program you have to apply for. But I heard about that, and I was like, well, damn, so their kids can go to college, and they don't pay for everything, but they pay for the tuition. So like the books and the lab fees and all that stuff, you're still responsible for all of that. But that's a benefit. So for his future, so he gets married and has a couple of kids, his kids can have the benefit, that kind of benefit too. There's nothing wrong with him joining the armed forces and getting himself together. He can get career training while he's there. He can get a degree while he's there. He can get certifications. Things like that. He can advance himself, and he can become the man that he needs to be. He can learn structure, discipline, all the things that they teach you, and in a certain toughness. He can learn all of those things by being in the armed forces, either the Navy or the Air Force. I would not recommend the Army at all. Okay, so that's my suggestion for you and for him. He needs to immediately start being responsible for chores in the household, as do all of your children. Sit down and give them a list of things that they will be responsible for on a daily and weekly and or monthly basis. Because some things don't need to be done every day. Some things don't need to be done every week. So divide it up so they have a mixture of chores. But at the end of it, you should not be doing anything but cooking when you want to, because they should know how to cook too. and buying the groceries, shopping and paying the bills, until they get some financial, they get little jobs and stuff. There's no reason why anybody 16 years old should not at least be having enough money to pay his or her cell phone bill. For instance, they want to have phones, they want to have all this fancy shit and run up bills with extra time and playing games and all this stuff. Buy your own video games, buy your own video game console, pay for your own cell phone bill. Every teenager should have that responsibility. I just don't agree with these parents spoiling these kids and being overly indulgent. They don't learn any kind of value to what is you just easily give them. They don't have to earn it. They don't work for it. There's no effort. They just do this, and then you give them what they want, and they don't have to do shit to get it. Oh, hell no. Hell fucking no. No. So, like you said, you've been working and paying taxes since you were 15. There's nothing wrong with your children doing the same. They need to hit it. The world is even harder in certain respects than it was when we were growing up. You know what I mean? So there's more competition for jobs. There's more political nonsense going on. There's more things that are going to impact their ability to get out there and be successful than we had. So they need to start early. They need to start earlier than we did. And there's nothing wrong with you giving him that 30-day notice at the same time that you give him this lecture about August 7th. And make sure that you put some things in place. Get your locksmith ready. Put all his shit outside on the 7th. And then have the locksmith stand there and change all the locks. If he should be so bold, and you'd make sure your other kids know they're not to let him in because he doesn't live there anymore. And that if he wants to come and visit, he is supposed to call and make like an appointment, like he's some other business person. Don't be showing up at my house and you're just going to get in and crash on my couch and all that stuff. Get your shit together. Now, there will be if he does agree, if he does sign up for the Air Force, then they don't go to boot camp right away. That's what I'm letting you know. There will be a date when he's supposed to show up. But if he has that paper and he's put the moves in place, then he can stay until that date comes. And then, he'll get on over there with his little duffel bag full of stuff, and then he'll be on about his business, and then you'll hear from him in 2 years when he's, finished with his whatever they call it. 4 years or whatever it is, or however long they have to sign up for first, and then they get to re-sign up again and again if they want to. He needs to do that. He needs to stay in there for just 20 years, get his retirement, and then go on and do whatever he wants to do with the rest of his life. But right now, his main thing is get on the path, get himself up out of there, get off them damn video games before he becomes a video game addict and some antisocial idiot down in your basement talking about how women don't want him. And eat up all your food. Oh no. So that's my what I have to say about that. I think it applies to a lot of parents who are going to be facing similar situation right now as their kids graduated from high school and don't really know what the next step is for their life. Put their asses in something. They either need to be going to school full time, working full time, going to school part time and working part time, or they need to be up out your house. Those are their 4 options. All right. This is Deb Cooper from survivingdating.com. Don't be a like a punk ass parent. And I'll put the link to the video on punk ass parenting up there so you can read that and watch that one too.